Hey, welcome to the Friday night recap that we've started a little bit early because a lot of people were back early from their games. From the playoffs, it's playoff season. It's the second season. It's round one. It's by district time, and a lot of people had a lot of fun. A lot of goose eggs were thrown up. Geyer had a lot of fun. Capel, Argyle, South Lake Carroll, probably some more that I can't think of right now. And then there's a lot of a lot of teams that had struggles right down to the wire, including you know who, the Lake Highlands South Grand Prairie game number 100 in a row in the playoff. I don't know,
Six.
six. All right, 600, same thing. What did you see out there, Diggs, today that really stuck to you?
Well, I saw a 10-0 team get absolutely annihilated tonight. Wiley East with a 50. Well, you saw it too, so you got to
True.
see a little bit of that, 52-10. But statewide, we saw a lot of parity, and we saw a lot of different elements. Small school, and I feel like since one of the reasons I wanted to start early is I know if you're used to coming in here at 11:30, we're going to start in 6, 8, 11:30. Let's actually go to some of the small schools because I think that's what we're actually going to not get a chance to talk about because there were so many incredible things that happened in the small school world. And let's actually start. Let's go over here to start with 3A.
Okay, let's start to 3A. We flipped it. Peaster was one of the teams, if you guys remembered from the show last week, that caught Diggs' eyes, sleeper team, and they're one of the teams that pitched shutout this week. I think you caught your boy Pat Doney off guard with the Peaster comment, if I watched the show correctly. Another shutout up there with Shallow Water, shutout with Denver City, Vernon with a big win over Clyde. How did you feel about this 3A action here?
Now, if you don't watch our podcast and you're coming on here, I want to kind of introduce this, and we'll reintroduce it at 11:30. It's what Ward calls in his producer world a reset. But in our podcast, I named the regionals. We got 18 brackets, and we're going to go through all of these in kind of 18 pods. And I named who I think is going to win each 18 pod. This is just my pick. That's. At the end of the day, it's just what I think. So when you see at the very top, you're going to see 3A Division 1, Region 1, Peaster Regional. That means I think this is Peaster's region to win. This 8 team, not the whole 16 team. And you'll kind of see that. But all expected wins, Shallow Water, Peaster, Denver City, and Vernon take care of business tonight to kind of get things started on that side. And on the other half of the bracket, you're going to see the Jim Ned Regional, which I know makes our friends in Paradise a little upset.
Yeah, they probably are upset about that, especially since they shut out Breckenridge. They can't even get a region named after Jim Fry, the Jim Ned guy, goes on with their win. Bushland wins, and as does Dalhart. Anything that you saw upsetting here besides you upsetting Paradise?
I think Paradise showed what their thoughts were about having this regional named the Jim Ned Regional. And if they continue to play like this, I kept challenging people. I want style points. And finally, after several weeks, after 3 one-score games, Paradise gives us a little bit. Paradise, to me, is trending up now. This is just what I needed to see. Breckenridge, the Buckaroos will always get your head right. It's what you call the Excedrin, the South Garland effect. But big wins next week. I think we're going to see Jim Ned and Paradise take care of business and continue in advance. But this region, I know, is starting to. It excites me. I think you're not as interested in this one.
There seems to be a lot of East Texas out here, but I'm good with Pottsboro's big win over Maypearl. You talked a lot about Maypearl last year, but that's a big win. They gave up 5 touchdowns, but still got the win. Winsboro in a tough battle there with Atlanta, but they pulled it off.
Yeah, Whitney Whitesboro, that was a track meet. And a lot of these games, as we're going to see on the next slide with Grandview and whoever they played, Palmer. That was also a big shootout. So a lot of big scores, but it still looks like Winsboro and Malakoff are destined to have a rematch in round 3. And then as we move on to the next one, the game I'm going to kind of maybe pencil it in. Commerce Pilot Point is a game I want to see next week. I think that's going to be a fascinating game. Gladewater and Grandview, 2 big wins there. Grandview with the big win over Palmer, especially since they're the only team that got out of their district.
Yeah, that was a tough one too, like a 7-point game where they gave up a ton of points, but they got through. Zebras move on. I wonder where that Commerce Pilot Point game is going to be played. You can use your little triangulation and figure it out for me.
I think that would be perfect to put that right at Kimbrough. Just go ahead and put it right at Kimbrough.
Make it easy on yourself, right? Make it easy on
there.
yourself.
Now, I know this is the kind of stuff that drives you crazy, but we'll just kind of quickly go over everybody as expected wins, Canadian, Coahoma, Idalou, and Grape Creek. But this is relevant on the other side because you got Merkel, Slayton, Wall. You talked about some big scores.
Yeah.
Wall and Childress, 77 and 84. We've had more 70 and 80-point games, especially out against the far West Texas teams, that I think I've ever seen. And that'll be more relevant when we kind of get into more of the 11:30 official start time when we get back over to 6A. But Wall Canadian just seems like it's going to be destined. And with that, I think Wall is still a big favorite. But something, as we're about to start going through, there are some big things that happened over here. Jacksboro took care of business. Blue Ridge, Holiday, and Leonard. I told you, watch out for Holiday. But this slide right here, Cedar Hill, Trinity, Cedar Hill, our friends. It was a bad day for Cedar Hill across the board. Yeah. Cedar Hill leadership. My number 2 team loses to the 4th place team in 7-3A.
And not even 32. Close. Yeah, not even close. Wow, that is a big shocker right there. Holy cow. Yeah, Gunner, I expected them to go 2 rounds at least.
At the least. But,
Gunner's still doing things, and a lot, we've talked about this. A lot of people, including yourself, probably me too, got Wall going in there. We're not used to not seeing Gunner go to the state final, but we got Wall going in there. Here we go with the Brewer. Go ahead.
That's a big question, Billy. Which Kimbrough? Our Kimbrough. We're not going out to West Texas. Poor Billy. He got pranked back in the day. He's still feeling that. Some 2A action, just real quick. Hamilton beat Tioga. Mildred beat Dawson. Alvord with the big win over Heiko, and Price Carlisle with the big win over Valley Mills. Hamilton still holds on to their regional name. Moving on to the Frankston Regional, Axtell beat Cayuga. Tom Bean with a big win over Banks. Frankston, that's the name of the regional, 69-29 over Bosqueville, and a close one with De Leon and Wolf City, 30-28. De Leon takes care of business on their regional, and then the Honey Grove regional.
That's your boys.
That's the team that we wanted to keep an eye on. 41-10 over Union Grove. Joaquin, got to see Joaquin in Honey Grove last year. Joaquin pulled an upset over them. We'll see if they play that game at the Star, if you remember that.
Yeah, it's true. You going to go this year? Wherever they play it.
I think they should play it at the Star again. That'd be great. A nice Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. at the Star. Perfect there. Legion Fields with the big win over Como Picton, 48-16. Garrison over Corrigan Camden, 59-21. And then we still have a couple of games that we're still trying to get scores on. San Augustine, Wascom, Jewett Leon with a big win over Shelbyville, 55-40. And then getting over here into our neck of the woods again, Wheeler with a big win over Electra, 35-8. Collinsville, 51-21 over Roscoe with the Plowboys. Windthorst over. I saw that game 3 years ago, Ward. They played at Springtown. Collinsville and Roscoe.
And then Lindsay wins, and you still got bad feelings for them because you wanted to jump on their bandwagon, and now you hopped off in mid-flight, in mid-drive. You just jumped off and rolled. But they're back. They're getting a win. So your thoughts against them against Windthorst?
I think Windthorst will be a big favorite over Lindsay. The Lindsay that beat Pilot Point, by the way, I think could compete with Windthorst. But something has happened to Lindsay. Maybe they righted the ship against the Pied Pipers of Hamlin, 56-14. And then on the other half, your favorite team, Munster, sure looks like they might be back into things. 77-6 over Cross Plains.
I need to see Munster back in there in state, man. I did some preseason stuff with them. Love the coach. Love the team. Let's see if they can get back in there.
So a little small school action just to kind of get you held over while we're getting everything kind of worked back out. But anything shock you so far tonight? Let's get the Wizards' thoughts on things.
Well, obviously we talked about what shocked me the most. We talked off air about this is the sweeps. We expected 10-6A over 9-6A, and that happened. I didn't expect 7-6A over 8-6A. I expected somebody from 8-6A to win, whether it be Bowie, South Grand Prairie, somebody. I expected it. and it didn't happen. And everybody got shut out. Kudos to Berkner, Coach Brian getting a postseason win. I know that's big for him, and they move on. But that was a shocker to me.
Yeah, that South Grand Prairie game in Lake Highlands, I was going back and forth because it was like 15-7 or something early, like at halftime.
8-7 at halftime, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's like both teams got really good pep talks. They come out, and it was just score for score for score. And Lake Highlands, I think they had to go for fourth down several times on their final drive. I felt like they knew this was it. We got to go all or nothing here. And Christian Rhodes was able to get that last score to get. It was basically who scored last one. Well, Lake Highlands scored last and end up with and I still think Lake Highlands should have made that a neutral site game. I think they should have fought that. Appeal to the UIL.
It doesn't matter now, right? It doesn't matter now. It's over. All right, let's go through some of these games because but those of you who are dying for Kenny to be here, he'll get here. He's probably still stuck in the Gopher Bowl. That's a long, steep walk up the parkway. He might have pulled both of his hamstrings. Who knows? Although he's in good shape, so never mind. He probably didn't. You talk about the North Crowley Keller game, they got off to a little bit of slow start, but they still, if they stick to the ground game, because if they stick to the running game, things end up working. They got 4 guys with over 50 yards and 4 touchdowns. They stick to the ground ready, they're all right, and Hayes Cloutier can kind of just manage things. He still threw a pick. You're going to get that from him once a game, but he's throwing 207 yards. You got a touchdown in there as well. Your thoughts on Coppell shutting out Plano and just keeping them to 112 total yards?
Not unexpected at all. When you really kind of see how Allen played Louisville last night, that was one of those games that made me feel like, okay, Plano's going to have a long day because Louisville lost to Coppell. Coppell, if they get that defense going, and I feel like both of us talked about that. I think we both think that Richardson has a really good chance to be competitive with Coppell next week. I think you went ahead and picked the upset. I don't know if after seeing this, you're going to continue on with that.
I will. I think Richardson's got themselves a quarterback now with Lucas Sawyer. I mean, obviously he's been there the whole year, but he's really stepping up down the stretch here. And he's got obviously Damian Crow as his go-to guy.
I'm a little disappointed with North Crowley and I'm a little disappointed with Allen too. Okay. So I feel like the
really disappointed, Allen. I'm with you on that.
The parity in 6A Division I in this region right now, man, and then you look at what Duncanville did or didn't do, and there is some poor football that we usually expect elite football. And I'm not saying it's poor bad. I'm just saying it's not that elite level. We're going to have to take a step back and go and realize that maybe we don't have a state championship team in DFW. Maybe we've got 6 or 7 teams that can all be competitive and all fight each other for the opportunity to go to play a Houston area team. But just a lot of parity right now has me very concerned about who's going to be that dominant team. North Crowley and Allen, they still have a couple of weeks to right the ship. But as we're going to see as we go to the next page, I thought Euless Trinity was going to survive and advance. But all of a sudden, the team we got to start worrying about is the team we give lots of shout outs to, our Mansfield Lake Ridge team with a big comeback win over Euless Trinity.
It was good to see them holding up a gold ball. Now, they both got 2 turnovers, but I feel like Lake Ridge's turnovers meant more. It was more in their zone, and it led to back-to-back touchdowns, which kind of put that thing around away. And kudos to Deshaun Edwards, who had 170 on the ground, 240 in the air, 4 combined touchdowns. So it wasn't all Jaden Cotton. They knew. I mean, you predicted somewhere around a 44-41 score at one point. Right. You may have changed that. It's right around where it was. There was a shootout, 1 extra turnover for Lake Ridge, got it to 47, but. Man, and tell me your thoughts against them in Permian.
I think Lake Ridge is a favorite over Permian. We already saw Odessa Permian lose to Plano earlier this year, and look how dominant they looked against Eastlake. I think Lake Ridge, from what we saw in that game, if you can kind of calibrate that, Lake Ridge's running game is going to be way too much for Permian. 4 quarters, I just don't think Permian is going to have an answer. It'll be interesting to see where they play that game. I guess probably Abilene's going to be kind of the default offer, but I could see Lake Ridge saying, let's flip it, bring it here, because I think that gives them an extra advantage. And we're going to see this several times. I was talking to some of the 10-6A coaches and like, where would you want to play Longview? And a couple of them were like, we can play them in Tyler. We don't care. But if you're playing Longview and Tyler, I feel like that's still a home field advantage for Longview. So you play Permian out in Abilene, that's still a home field advantage for them. So at that point, if you're going to lose the home field advantage, might as well flip it. So we'll see what Lake Ridge decides to do. Allen, Lake Highlands, I don't think Lake Highlands has an opportunity to upset Allen, but it's still going to be a game where if Christian Rhodes is on par, they could keep it a 4-possession half. I could see them being competitive with Allen. There's our guy, Kenny. We kept our sheet up for you. We got Lake Highlands and South Grand Prairie on the big board waiting for your feedback.
Wow. He's back. Tell us about it. How are your hamstrings, first of all? Snoozer in the first half. Tell me about the game.
I got all kinds of scrapes on my shoulders from that sideline. That's what I got.
Tight quarters. Work it out.
Just a little. A snooze fest in the first half. 8-7. No offense could get anything done. Boy, then the floodgates opened in the second half. I mean, goodness gracious. I think there was 3 stops in the second half, if I'm correct. I think it was. But anyhow, big game for Chucky Smith for Lake Highlands. He came up with 5 TD games. So I have seen 11 of Chucky Smith's TDs in 2 games this year in the season now. So they want me to be at the Allen game next week. But we'll talk about that later. But anyhow.
They got Christian Rhodes for over 300 total yards.
So Christian Rhodes was big. He had a big swing pass for about 70 or 85 yards there in the third quarter. And then obviously he had the game-winning TD that just was a part to see. It was a great cut, went up the middle and just scored on that last TD. But kudos to Lake Highlands defense. They had 2 stops at the end of the game which proven to be the difference maker in those 2 games in the game for them. And I mean, it was a very exciting game, but major props. The best name I had was maybe Cash Clark for South Grand Prairie. He had a big game for them tonight. And then obviously Dalen Brooks, he was huge there. But time management was an issue on both teams there down the stretch here, and it cost South Grand Prairie, I think, in the end.
I was going to say, talk about that final drive, because I was kind of keeping an eye on the morning news things. So it looks like some 4th down conversions, some key plays there.
Yeah, I mean, and not only that, they had the 4th and 4. What was 3rd and 4, and they threw a 15-yard out to the smallest guy on the team, and it goes incomplete. And it's like about the 36-yard line maybe, or the 38-yard line, I'm thinking it was. They went for it. They got it. Chucky Smith had a great throw on the out and out of bounds, which was key at that point in time, because I think it was about a minute and 15 seconds or 5th minute. So then they ran the ball up the middle with Rhodes. He just missed. He told me in the interview that he just missed the cut to do it. They ran the same play the next play. Untouched. The Red Sea opens. Christian Rhodes scores. But, I mean, kudos to the defense after that, because none of us had any confidence that they were going to stop them at that point in time. We just figured we were heading to overtime. So
yeah, if you want to talk about defense,
and it was over.
You want to talk about defense? That's what Allen's going to need to get to the state final, because I guess we'll talk about that later on the podcast. But let's talk about the Duncanville region here. Duncanville wins. We talked about this off air. Maximus Denson is not the quarterback now. They got Jacorian Rivers in there, and they managed some things. It looks like they did a lot of sweeps in that game, because a lot of wide receivers got running plays there. So they must have done sweeps and used their speed to get some stuff going. We were at Heath Wiley East. Carter Zahn with 4 touchdowns. It just took care of business there. And then if you look at the lower end there, Klein Collins with the big win over Bridgeland, and that Woodlands game's not till tomorrow night, so we won't get a final yet there. But you got any thoughts on the Duncanville only winning by 21, and then their game with Heath?
I'm concerned if we got anybody who is in our comments who got some feedback on the quarterback situation at Duncanville. Well, it's your comments, not ours, so you can put it up there as long as it's clean and legal. We can post it. But Rockwell Heath, an absolutely dominant victory over Wiley East. I kind of said Wiley East was a paper tiger, 9-6A. They got swept out. They weren't competitive. Duncanville, no style points against Temple. But as we're going to talk about, maybe 12-6A was a little bit better than we gave it credit for, because Kenny was all over Harker Heights beating Cedar Hill. I was not, and Cedar Hill is the 11-6A team team that will not continue on. But Rockwell Heath, Duncanville, I think with Prosper Neal in there, and Duncanville a little shaky at the quarterback position. I'm not going to call it an upset, but certainly upset watch.
Yeah, last year that was at McKinney ISD Stadium. Go ahead, Kenny.
Well, the one thing we know about Rockwell Heath, they can score. So, I mean, if Temple can get 14 on that vaunted defense, we know that Rockwell Heath can at least do that. And like you said, if you got question marks at the quarterback spot now, those possessions are pretty tight now going forward for Duncanville.
The other reason, too, North Forney had a little bit of trouble there and then turned it on in the second half. Well, not very much of a Legend Bay type game. He'll be on the show this week, but he didn't really run for that much and pass for that much. But what they did get was Adakin Azukwu with the 188 yards and 2 touchdowns to get that win. Waxahachie did their stuff on the ground as well with Strange. And then in the lower half, Cy Ranch and Grand Oaks first win in a long time. They move on. Your thoughts on Waxahachie and North Forney, either one of you two?
Well, doesn't it seem like Waxahachie's kind of getting their sea legs back after they had the tough loss? It seems like they're getting back to where they are again. And I think that if balanced with Brown and obviously with Meyer, I mean, you've got weapons there. And I think that the last few weeks we can be really happy about Waxahachie's defense too. So I think that would really help them going down.
That's the key right there is the defense because they didn't let Meyer throw all that much today. Got through for like 100 yards. Maybe.
And ultimately, North Forney's got to be able to play a 48-minute game. You keep talking about these halves. North Forney has a bad half, it seems like, about every other game. And maybe they got it out of their system. But if they have a bad half against Waxahachie, they're done.
Absolutely.
Geyer had a field day right there with Rock Hill. Caused 4 turnovers, only gave up 188 yards total. Byron Nelson had the 42 they have there at the half. So they were rolling with Parker Almanza playing some serious ball. And how about the Jesuit Arlington Lamar game? They shut down Tyrone Thomas. Now, they gave up 41 points, but Thomas didn't do nothing. He ran for 30. That was a Beck Berry type aerial attack, and that Lamar wasn't playing any kind of defense.
Well, think about this, Ward. You talked with Coach Hickman this week about, the getting the offense better. They got some people back into the lineup here at the end of the year, and they got healthy a little bit on the Irvin schools. But 65, that's 65 burger.
Exactly.
That speaks volumes because they weren't doing that early.
That total game was 994 total yards by both teams. So we almost got 1,000 in that too. Wow. South Lake Carroll with the sweet. Go ahead, Dixie.
I was going to say it feels like we've been watching Jesuit and Richardson grow up over the last couple of weeks. Yeah. And while I'll kind of transition back to this. We have given Coach Bryant a lot of grief on the podcast about needing that signature win in the playoffs. Coach Bryant, congratulations!
You got it.
I just want to give you a hug right now because I'm proud of you. Because he was at McKinney. We watched him over with McKinney and Shavers and that thing, and now he has gone to the next step. I'm happy for Berkner. I'm happy for Richardson. It's fun to watch 7-6A kind of grow up before our eyes, and a big win over a really good Arlington Bowie squad.
Yes, Daquan Dunn with 2 touchdown passes and a pick.
Like there you go. There is the wife of Coach.
There we go. All right. Will you give him the hug for us, Steph? Please.
Yes.
Can you give him the hug? You got to give 3 hugs out and I'm big, so you got to hold on to it hard for a while. Prosper. If we get to the Prosper game, how about Braden Imhoff? I mean, they shut him down in the third quarter. He had over 500 yards, 8 touchdown passes. They started off a little sluggish, but when they poured it on thick.
Well, not to rain on their parade. What's that 39 spot they gave up to Hebron, though? That's what I really want to talk about. Is that 39 spot they gave up because I know they scored quick and fast, but 39 is not – Hebron's not an offensive juggernaut by any stretch of the mean. And so giving up 39 to me makes me an alarmist a little.
But Prosper's been doing that all year. It feels like the last 3 weeks we talked about them being in this funk. They've been giving up scores to Princeton, Plano West. But I think Prosper just feels like they got to lean on that offense, and they'll just go with shootouts. And if Imhoff can throw 500 against a lot of these good teams, maybe they can get away with it.
All right, let's go to this part of the regional with Longview with the crushing win. DeSoto having all sorts of fun, but the one I want to talk about is the Houston one. Side Lakes with an unbelievable upset in that their first playoff ever in school history. Everybody thought they were just going to be happy to be there. They were not happy to be there. They knocked off a very good Magnolia team and they move on to probably get beat bad by College Park, but still, they move on. I said that about Magnolia. They didn't. How about Longview putting it to Rowlett? They love coming over here, just beating up on our teams, don't they?
Can we feel a little vindicated about 9-6A, though, that district? I mean, all year we kind of were on them about them underwhelming a little bit, and this kind of completes the cycle, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And, yeah, I agree with Mark Henry on that one. I've seen them millions of times. They're great defense, great offense.
I agree with Mark.
All right, Division II, I was not impressed with the Forney win at all because I don't know how anybody gives up 27 to Naaman Forest. No offense, Coach Perales, but if you're looking to go deep in the postseason, you cannot be giving up 27 to Naaman Forest. We talked about how Cedar Hill was on a tailspin from like week 5, and they just eased their way out of the playoffs. Tomball and Willis with wins. Willis is a lot closer than it should have been against Spring Westfield in my mind. That should have been a 3-point score win.
I mean, Cedar Hill, that's just they just limped down the stretch, didn't they, on us? I mean, it just I can't explain it. I mean, it just I don't know.
Yeah. They just fizzled out and now they're done.
No.
I know this is not a Houston podcast, but what is it about Tomball in the playoffs? It's like Tomball turns it on every year in the playoffs.
Exactly.
Like, I don't watch them all year, but I know I'm going to pick them. You know, I don't care if they're the 2 seed against a 1 seed. I'm taking Tomball in the playoffs for a couple of weeks, and they take care of it. I'll go and take.
I wouldn't be surprised about you.
I'll take them next week too.
Well, you know, Willis has got the best player in the state. That's the whole thing there, and they got a freshman quarterback. That's pretty good. But go ahead and take them because you jack around with Tomball playoffs, you end up with playoff Tomball, you end up with some losses on your betting slip.
You'll take some lumps.
Learn that the hard way. How about Richland having a little fun? How much did they have at a half? I believe it was like 63 at the half. So they were just coasting with Brett Gates and Jay Sean Gibson, just having fun with Wyatt. And then if you take a look at Abilene, are we nervous for Denton Ryan because they put up 84? Is Bel Air that bad?
84 burger. That's something to deal with, isn't it?
Yeah, look at that Amarillo El Dorado score, and I feel like that might actually be wrong because I think I saw El Dorado get 77. Yeah, so there you go. So Richie's got to play El Dorado.
I just want to know what the time was on that game. How long was it from opening kick to the final?
Exactly. I don't know about that one, Mark Henry. Not this year. That 14-6A is equivalent to 9-6A this year. So I don't know how good they were. That they have no kind of passing game.
Jen Ryan's offense got healthy.
Yeah, they did. They toss that thing around. Alito didn't like seeing Abilene score 80, so they went ahead and put up 80, making Dixie feel bad about it. But that's because he predicted a 65-point win.
Exactly. I picked a 65-point win, and they kicked the field goal to get to 68. I'm more mad about that than the point score. But Tascosa was looking at that like, we'll see your 80 and give you an 80. But I think next week, you know my beef with Amarillo Tascosa over the last couple of years. So I'll be putting on my orange and black for an Alito 7-score win over Tascosa this week. And how about Arlington Heights? That was a fun game.
That was a close one, for sure. A close game. My man, I just took a look at my man James's highlight. It looks like Carson James had a bunch of big runs in that one. They tacked on a ticky-tack touchdown at the end, so it's really kind of like 29-23. But that was we all predicted that was going to be a fun game, and sure enough, it was.
I got a soft spot for the Bear Cave, so that's a tough loss for Brewer, man. I hate to see it, but not a bad year for them.
Exactly. You got a soft spot for him. By the way, Mark, thanks for telling me about Gibson. I know why you did it too. All right, Lone Star, big win over North Mesquite. West Mesquite was in a battle with Frisco. They pulled it out thanks to Demarion Robinson with 4 touchdowns, 220 yards, and they managed to get it out. Home being able to play at home was probably a big factor in that one as well. Midlothian with a big win over Georgetown Eastview.
Yeah, I picked the wrong fantasy guy for West Mesquite. There's no question.
They didn't throw it all.
I'm going to go ahead and put an upset watch on because the way Lone Star's been playing the last couple of weeks, Georgetown is good enough to beat them, especially neutral site, get them outside in the elements or something like that. If Georgetown doesn't agree to play at the Star, play them in Waco or something, Georgetown has a really good shot to win that game unless Lone Star gets it figured out. real quick. I think Midlothian will be a favorite over West Mesquite. West Mesquite, it was like that 5-5A versus 6-5A battle, Kenny, was really lopsided for the Frisco ISD schools. It was even the one school we thought West Mesquite had to fight. I mean, that was a comeback win with a late fourth quarter surge to get that win over Frisco.
And you and I are both on the same path on that line of scrimmage. Midlothian will have that line of scrimmage advantage in that game for sure.
Right.
Yeah, you're going to flip the screen, but nothing really impressed me by Wakeland against Newman Smith. It wasn't a super impressive game.
No.
And then the game of it all was the Cedar Park Tyler game. But since I don't talk about East Texas, I'll let Diggs take it away. Tell us about it, Diggs. You talk with East Texas. That's your hometown.
I mean, Tyler High gives up 50. I have no love for Tyler High, okay? We can go back to 94 and go back to the future and just reverse life, and things are better. I wish Reedy was healthy because their offense looked bad with the second stringer quarterback in there losing Lincoln Harm. But I don't think they got to be able to score 28 against Highland Park, and I just don't see – if they couldn't get 28 on Creekview, they're going to have a hard time getting 28 on Highland Park. But I think Cedar Park probably is going to be a favorite over Wakeland because Wakeland has just really struggled to get things going, in that Newman Smith game, just not impressive.
What about my Trojans? They did not get embarrassed tonight. They stepped up tonight. That's a valiant effort. I'm not a moral victory guy.
Put your left hand up for the
the boys of Troy did show up tonight.
How about Melissa with the big win over Colleyville Heritage? Now, Melissa, you predicted it, but Cheesy Sheen got something to say to you. The Cheese Man.
Sorry.
Brett Holloway's turned out to be one of the best dual threat quarterbacks out there right now. He's running, he's passing, he's doing 232 on the ground, 215 in the air as they beat Colleyville Heritage in a runaway, as Diggs predicted. And at Timberview was up most of the first half, but Anna came back and pulled the thing out here. Wasn't a very great game for Zion Williams, but they pulled it out anyway. 35-25, they're going on to take on Polidero.
I was concerned about Colleyville Heritage 2 weeks ago against Burleson. There was something there. We kind of tried to blame it on Halloween night, but it just something wasn't there. We knew they were going to beat Grapevine the following week, but something just not right with that offense and their defense down the stretch. And I can't put my hand on top of it, but that didn't surprise me at all. Melissa's really good.
Yeah, especially at home. I just felt like they're going to take care of business, and they did. And I feel like we're going to get that rematch, Anna Melissa, and that last year we got Anna Lovejoy. This year we're going to have Anna Melissa. Just kind of pencil that in for week 3.
You put Argyle up against Lovejoy. You put Todd Dodge against Todd Rogers, and you're thinking even Steven in yardage. But Argyle put up 580 yards to Lovejoy's 204. Lovejoy just couldn't get right in this game. So a team that's been top of the radar, but somehow also under the radar. Argyle's been kind of both, especially McGuire Gasperson. I don't know if me and Diggs have talked about him at all in the podcast, and he came out with a big night tonight with 308 yards, 4 touchdowns. If him and the running back, and not even Watson Bell, it's the other guy that's putting up big yardage.
Rex Rowe.
Yeah, that's it.
Rex. Yeah. Yep.
They're going to be in trouble. I mean, they're trouble. They were already trouble, but we just weren't talking about them because they were rolling through their district. Now it's time to talk. Now go talk a little bit more about this Walnut Grove and Arlington Seguin game, one of you two, because that one was a little closer. It was just as close as last year, but they ended up leaning on Cam Newton with 37 carries again. So you knew that's how they were going to win that one.
Only 37 carries. Remember that.
Instead of the 43. Yeah, exactly.
Only 37.
Well, the guy that was there for me said they went for it 4 times in the first half on 4th down, didn't get any of them. Or maybe it was 3 times. So they're trying.
Not to stall us a little bit, can we circle back? When's the last time Todd Dodge was shut out?
That's a good question. I don't know.
56, yeah.
I mean, he's an offensive guru guy. I mean, so to get the goose egg, I would like to know the last time that happened. But as for Walnut Grove, do we still kind of worry about the defense a little bit?
A little bit, but every time we doubt them, they come back just like the Anna thing. The fourth quarter comeback against Anna, just dominance over Melissa in the fourth quarter. So if they can beat Melissa, they're good enough to beat Argyle in the third round. But Argyle as well has been there, done that. Like I said on the TV show, just go ahead and fast forward us to week 3: Argyle, Walnut Grove, Anna, and Melissa, and that's going to be our final 4 in the district. I think it's going to be academic with these teams. Argyle and Walnut Grove should go out to West Texas and take care of business.
Do you think that Coach Rogers likes being kind of under the radar?
Yeah, I think so. Nobody's talking to him, and that's just the way he likes it. All right, South Oak Cliff, dominant win. Jaden Williams, 293 yards, 4 touchdowns, a couple of 100-yard rushers for South Oak Cliff. What we expected. I didn't expect Montgomery to give Mount Pleasant this much of a game. I thought Mount Pleasant was going to win. And how about Terrell? 48 points in the first quarter. They were hungry to get that thing over with and get all the starters back out and chilling in the locker room as they dominated Seagoville. They got Huntsville next. Huntsville has not played good all year, to be honest with you, but they got a big win over Marshall. I didn't expect that, to be honest with you.
That's what I was going to ask you about, Ward, because I know a lot of the statewide pundits, because we got Houston versus East Texas way past my pay grade. We're saying that Marshall should beat Huntsville.
Yes.
But those are one of those schools that I'm just like, Huntsville was playing South Oak Cliff last year, and a lot of people were thinking, look at this freshman, watch this out. I feel like, they had the talent, even if they had a little bit of a down year. It's hard to pick against a team like that who got that experience last year.
Yeah, but they never had it connected the whole year. That's like you just alluded to. They never connected it all year this year. If it happens in the playoffs, well, then kudos to that. If it starts clicking there. But
let's give my man Wiz the props for the Terrell head coach of the year.
Yeah, he's going to be coach of the year this year. Me, Dixon, and Kenny all put that together and decided on that. What do you see here? We see PNG doing their thing, and it's putting up 70 Berg over there on Woodrow, but we expected Ennis and Heritage to get their wins against their South Dallas squads.
It's going to be a rematch, Texas High, Midlothian Heritage. We saw it, and Texas High wants to get their lick back against Midlothian Heritage. And I think they're kind of looking at PNG as well, because remember that game last year, Texas High, PNG was an instant classic. So Texas High, PNG, I think are going to be the favorites. So not going to be much fun to talk about this from a DFW perspective. Well, how about that? That could be big for PNG having the ability to
I was just about to say, he's pretty good. Yeah.
Would be trouble. All right, the West Plains Regional. Take it away, Diggs.
Well, look at some of these 85-0. I feel like the Argyle Liberty Christian game kind of made them a little bit mad, and they felt like they had to put a little mustard on the hot dog. And 85-0. Everything happened as here. This is West Plains Regional. They're going to take care of business. Canyon with a big win, Brownwood and Lampasas. And then on the other side, we got the Stephenville Regional, which, well, you could see they took care of business as well. But Dumas puts up 80 again. How many of these teams? You play an El Paso team, you're putting up 80 this week. But Stephenville should be a big favorite over Dumas next week. And then Burnett and Canyon Randall. I think we'll see Stephenville Burnett again in round 3, which they've already won that game significantly. So it's just West Plains, Stephenville. We're just waiting for it in round 4 to get us to our side of the bracket, which this is cinema, Ward.
Yeah, these are going to be some great games next week. Usually don't see that in the second round like this, but Springtown, Panther Creek, Alvarado, Sulphur Springs, that's going to be something else. Kudos to Carter Riverside for making the postseason, but you got an 11th game. I wish you would have got an 11th point, but that didn't happen. Alvarado's playing great ball. So who are you predicting in that one off the cuff? Either one of you two.
Props to Sulphur Springs. To lose your QB and then to be able to kind of still be able to go through here. Great coaching job there. A lot of times that goes into the tank, when that happens.
And he's not going to be back. And it's not like that was
Timmons is not coming back. So, that's huge. That's huge for them. That's a great job.
I think Alvarado is the favorite, and I think, and this is what I hate to say, Springtown is a favorite right now over Panther Creek.
Porcupines and Alvarado.
Well, I don't want you to say that, man. I want to see Panther Creek with that one. All right, Solano, the Kennedale game's tomorrow. We just don't know the score yet. Tomorrow. All right. 70 touchdowns in the first half. I don't know what that means. It's for somebody. Salina blew out Pinkston. They're doing their stuff on the football field because stuff's a little awry off of it. Harris took out Lincoln. Okay, Belton had a big game. Decatur with the big win over Castleberry. These are all things that we predict.
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about districts getting swept out. 8-4A got swept out violently. I mean, it was like 181-10. So if I'm doing my math, that's 221-25 is what District 8-4A got swept out of 7-4A. That's bad.
Yeah, not good.
That is bad stuff. Eagle Mount with the playoff win. Congratulations to them. They take out Benbrook. They move on to play Greenwood. It's the Greenwood bracket, so we know who Diggs is picking in that one. And Graham with another big win.
Things.
Rock a big blowout win as we get closer to the dump. We're going to run through these quickly. Glenrose gave up a few points to Mineral Wells. That was kind of shocking to me.
Yeah, Glenrose, the defense, remember they played Alvarado. That was a 55-50 game that they showed they could score on anybody, but they could give up a lot of points. They're kind of the Prosper of 4A Division 2.
Crum got the win that Diggs wanted to see. I wanted to see it too. They're going to take on Athens, is that an upset over Gilmer? No,
they're a computer favorite, but in my head, anytime you beat Gilmer in the first round, that's a big win for your
big
program.
Win, absolutely.
And Sunny.
A dogfight there, huh, Kenny? So was Van, for that matter.
Sunnyvale is going to struggle against Van, even though Van struggled against Center. But Sunnyvale giving up 41 to Van Alstine, they get the shorter version of Van next week, and I think Van might get their lick back on Sunnyvale unless they get their defense in order in this week, something quick.
Ward liked that 49 spot, though.
That's it. I like seeing Case and Malcolm do well. Pleasant Grove and Canton with wins. Carthage taking on Sanger. Sanger's chances against Carthage, I don't know. But Carthage defense wasn't Carthage-like in the first round.
I think that's a shootout a little bit, but I don't think Sanger can match up offensively on them.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer to give it to Carthage Regional. I mean, you'd be a fool not to, right, Diggsy?
Yeah.
Pleasant Grove with a big win, though.
And if you're just joining us, you can go back to our first 15 bonus minutes. We talked about 3A and 2A because we knew we were going to run out of time. But Peaster with the big win, 31-0. And again, it feels like we're just looking for Peaster and maybe Jim Ned or Paradise. Jim Ned with big wins. Paradise finally gives us something that we can talk about there. And then again, Whitney, Winsboro, Pottsboro, Malakoff. I think we're going to get Winsboro, Malakoff in the third round. I'm going to be excited about that. But a game I'm very interested. Get me a pairing. I want to go see Commerce and Pilot Point next week, assuming it works with my schedule. So I'm excited about that one. Big win for Grandview this week. Ward, why don't you do what Ward does and send us home? Give us a
We're out of here. We're wrapping this thing up. Make sure you see the highlights Sunday morning. We got Abby Bennett out there Sunday morning instead of Patty. Pat's home with the kid. So got a new host this week. We're going to have Legend Bay out there. Get yourself ready for the dump because the dump is happening in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thanks, everybody.